This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised. They began as the most notorious prison gang in Texas.
There was people stabbing at people every time you walked down the run over there.
They committed homicides in front of God and everybody.
They were born out of a powerful ideology.
It was absolutely about white power.
They are the ABT, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas.
I'm bounty hunted, been solicited for murder for hire.
Now they rule the streets too.
It's just wide open. There's a lot of them the authorities don't even know about.
And no neighborhood is safe.
I mean, I wouldn't want one living next door to me.
The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas.
You know, Dallas is a perfect hideout for them.
There's AB in every town in Texas. I mean, you're gonna run into them everywhere. You may not even realize it. They don't all have shaved heads and tattoos.
ABT has invaded these neighborhoods and the social fabric of the city. Gang members live and work here, virtually undetected.
They can clean themselves up and look just like you do, you know, and like your average white American.
54-year-old Bobby Adams knows how to keep a low profile, in spite of being an ABT general.
Obviously, by virtue of my rank, I've been involved in just about everything. I'll just leave it at that.
Known as BA, he says the gang has always prided itself on anonymity.
That's what it originally was. You can go around bragging about who you was or what you was. You know, we knew who we were and knew what we was about, and there was no need for any bragging.
The son of a bricklayer, BA grew up poor and rebellious.
I was attracted to criminal elements and what have you, and that's, couldn't nobody tell me anything, you know.
The ABT was a perfect fit.
We had a reputation for taking care of our business and not accepting no kind of flack from anyone.
In the ABT, murder isn't just accepted, it's encouraged.
They had no regard for human life, and if they were going to go after somebody and kill him, well, so be it. They were just going to have to kill him.
It's not a psychotic behavior, and there's nothing wrong with it. Even if you struggle with it in your mind, how could you take somebody else's life? You're protecting something you love. And it's the same concept. It's nothing more.
Dale Jameton, aka Tiger, believes that laws don't apply to him.
You come to a point after doing things for so long where you're like you feel like, okay, well, like almost like an immortalized, like I don't have to follow the rules.
Tiger has lived a hard life. He was drinking by 6, smoking weed at 10, and snorting cocaine when he was 13.
An addiction turns into a hunger that you're gonna feed one way or the other. And I started to commit, petty crimes and things like that to achieve my purpose of getting high.
A robbery conviction eventually landed Tiger in the Polunsky unit, a maximum security facility in South Texas. he went in a petty criminal and became a gangster killer.
I wasn't a gang member when I came to prison. Things happen.
Tiger won't say when he joined the ABT or why. He knows talking about his brothers could get him killed.
I'll do anything in the world, exactly. Whether it's to die, come to prison for the rest of my life, whatever's gonna better the organization at that particular moment in time.
ABT has more than 1,000 members in prison, according to the Texas Department of Corrections. They estimate that number is double in the free world.
Burglaries, thefts, vehicle thefts, breaking into houses, any crime of opportunity which may allow them access to your driver's license, your social security card, your credit cards, and your checkbooks.
35-year-old Jason Hankins is known as Trooper, a gang general. He's claimed ABT for nearly 2 decades and has been arrested countless times. It's a lifestyle he was born into.
When I was growing up, I knew some old schoolers and some biker dudes. They had things going on out in the world. Wrecking yards, auto shops. And I seen how they were making money, and the lifestyle appealed to me at a younger age.
By the time Trooper was a teen, he was an experienced burglar, making $200 a day by robbing houses.
I would go in during the daytime hours when people are at work, take jewelry and guns.
He was busted for burglary in 1992 and sentenced to 8 years in prison, where he found the Brotherhood.
We were down for each other, looked out for each other. There was more loyalty and there was more realness in the penitentiary.
Trooper would find out that loyalty had its limits. Summer 2006. Trooper was introduced to 19-year-old Breonna Taylor, who wasn't a member of the gang and came from an affluent Dallas family.
Unfortunately, Breonna made some poor decisions as she got out of high school. She got into some things she shouldn't have, and she was introduced to members of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Trooper and Breonna started dating. By August, Trooper's brothers, including Tiger, turned on her. Some said she was bad-mouthing the Brotherhood. Others said she was the victim of a crime and was going to snitch.
The other story is Tiger had committed an assault against Breonna, and she was going to go to the police.
Trooper had no idea what was about to take place.
I should have took her to back to Fort Worth with me, but she wanted to stay in Dallas.
One August night, gang members brought Breonna to the North Dallas home of Tiger's girlfriend, Jennifer McClellan. According to police reports, Tiger called the shots as Jennifer and another ABT member began to torture Breonna in the garage.
They shaved her head, they beat her.
They hooked Breonna up to a battery charger and shocked her. Then she was sexually assaulted.
At that point, Tiger said it's gone too far, and he made the decision that she has to be killed that night.
Breonna was eventually choked to death with a zip tie. The group tried to cover it up by bathing her body in acid to destroy any DNA evidence. Then they put her remains in a plastic tub, filled it with concrete, and dumped it in a nearby lake. In just days, Tiger was identified as a suspect in a home invasion robbery. He decided to flee Dallas, leading police on a high-speed chase down Interstate 45.
So I got like 100 cop cars behind me, and they hit the lights, and I hit the gas. I put it on cruise control, like, I got a full tank. How many of them squad cars got a full tank? I'm kidding.
His girlfriend, Jennifer, was riding shotgun.
I don't know why we do, but we ride like rednecks. And I told her, hey, get over here, come over here in the middle. But when I was a kid, I used to think that was so silly. I'm like, why is she riding in the middle of that truck like that? But now I understand.
Tiger planned to go out guns blazing. To do it, he had to be high, so he pulled out a bag of meth.
And I grabbed a handful and I shoved it in my mouth, and I'm like, okay, this is it, but I'm psyching myself out, like, I'm not going to jail. They'll never take me alive.
Dallas, a city of power and privilege. A high society built on big oil. Its pretentious, predominantly white suburbs mask a more sinister side. The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, or ABT. A gang built on racism and violence.
You simply think white supremacists. You think of one race, a white race, the only race. You think of Adolf Hitler.
The seeds of the ABT were first planted in the early 1960s. At the time, the Texas prison system was run by George Beto, a man who believed in giving exemplary inmates special status. The inmates were known as building tenders. Mostly white, these favored prisoners were allowed total control.
They had blackjacks and knives, and then they run the wings and run the hallways, and they pretty much did whatever the warden told them to do.
In 1972, inmate David Ruiz filed a lawsuit alleging barbaric treatment by the building tenders. The trial was endless, and in 1980, a federal judge ruled to end the tender system. Almost immediately, the prisons plunged into total chaos.
There was kind of a violence vacuum. We hired more guards who were inexperienced, who did not know how to deal with the convict subculture. People started joining gangs and forming gangs to fill that void.
The Texas Department of Corrections, or TDC, was clearly divided among racial lines. And the once favored white inmates found themselves in the minority.
Everybody was sitting back there taking pieces of TDC as they could, and the whites wanted their piece too.
In 1981, a small group of white inmates reached out to the Aryan Brotherhood in California, the notorious white supremacist gang that had started in San Quentin almost 2 decades earlier. Although the AB made up less than 1% of the prison population, they were responsible for 18% of the murders within the system. Texas inmates like Bobby Adams, known as BA, wanted to capitalize on the Aryan Brotherhood's bloody reputation. They asked for permission to form their own sector.
There was a lot of mutual respect. It seemed like a good idea at the time. We would all be there for each other anyway.
The AB granted permission, with one distinction. The new group would be the ABT, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. BA, a habitual burglar sentenced to life, began drafting the gang's constitution, the unbreakable rules the members were to live by.
It was all about looking out for ourselves, spiritually, financially, physically, taking care of our own.
In the gang's eyes, the Brotherhood was the only thing that was right in a system gone wrong.
We considered ourselves to be professional criminals. We didn't take or accept rapists or child molesters or snitches or nothing like that.
The ABT's primary purpose was to protect themselves from other races. In their eyes, the gang was on the front line in reinstating the white man to his rightful position of power. The ABT set about ruling the prisons with a vengeance.
We had some white boys for you. Whew. There were some I was even afraid of. They weren't afraid to use the shank, and they weren't afraid to use their fists.
We turned into building tenders without the backing of the administration.
The ABT developed a deep hatred for two black Texas prison gangs, the Mandingo Warriors and the Self-Defense Family.
They went full force at it, killing each other. The whites killed blacks and the blacks killed whites.
Life was cheap in here then.
The ABT reigned through sheer terror. Between 1983 and 1984, 52 inmates were killed in prison gang violence within the Texas Department of Corrections. The ABT was responsible for 1/3 of those murders.
It was their MO. I mean, just stab them anywhere in the neck and the head and the back and the stomach and just gut them. And that's simply to send a message to other people, don't mess with us.
By 1985, the ABT had become the masters of the Texas Department of Corrections, calling themselves the Mad Dog.
We didn't recognize no other laws, no rules other than the ones we made.
They did recognize other hardened criminals who could benefit their cause, like Virgil Barfield, aka Midget. At the time he was being recruited, he had already murdered one man on the inside and been acquitted.
They already knew my reputation. They more sought me out than I went seeking to join.
The ABT wanted Midget on their side, but to become a part of ABT, you had to spill blood. They knew Midget wouldn't hesitate.
I was pretty well, you just tell me what to do, I'll go take care of it, and that's good enough for me.
In 1985, Midget and another inmate, Calvin Massey, were both prospects for the ABT. Then the gang found out Massey had violated their rules.
He put the tattoo on before he actually became a member, and he had been involved with a black offender. And those were two no-nos.
Midget was ordered to kill Massey. He carried a shank that had been smuggled in through the laundry into a holding area. There, he stalked Massey carefully, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Whenever he went down there to the corner, out of the way of the TV, well, out of the way of the camera, I went after him.
And all of a sudden you hear, boss man, look, he's stabbing him, he's stabbing him.
The prison guards could do nothing but watch. A guard with a camera caught the whole thing on film.
The officers did not go in there until that weapon was thrown because of the fact in a gang hit, if anything interrupts, you get in the way of a gang hit, you can be hit.
In just 30 seconds, Midget stabbed Massey 41 times and slit his throat.
It's not necessarily a good feeling, but after it's done, actually, it's relief.
Barfield became an ABT member. He did his blood in. He got a life sentence for that homicide.
The Texas Department of Corrections had seen enough. That year, they locked down 17,000 inmates. The ABT was deemed a security threat, and known members were placed in segregation. Once removed from the general population, it became difficult for the gang to recruit new prospects, but not impossible. In 1991, at age 17, Jason Hankins, trooper, was busted for burglary and dope and sentenced to 8 years at Parker County Prison.
In the prison system, it was more of a family. We stayed together.
He joined the gang his first year and moved up through the ranks. By 2000, Trooper had assumed the coveted top spot of general.
They looked to me as a leader, I led by example.
But as he was rising, the ABT began to fracture. Older gang members perceived the newer ones to be too reckless and out of control.
They tend to be younger, they tend to be more violent.
A power struggle ensued, and the ABT split into two groups. Internally, they became known as the Ponchos and the Troopers, led by Hankins.
They didn't realize how much power and control that I had over the different units in TDC that were backing me.
The split changed the face of the gang. Many longtime members walked away, and a new generation with their own values took the reins.
Your morals are different from mine. But see, mine are still morals, it's just not the same morals.
Younger members like Dale Jameton, aka Tiger, were no longer interested in being just a prison gang. They started thinking bigger.
They were banded together in prison. And they were all from the same neighborhood or thereabouts. And whenever they got out, they went back to doing what they were doing.
One way or the other, if you're a bro inside, when you come home, you're still a brother, you know?
Dallas. A city built on suburban sprawl, where money can buy a false sense of security or hide a world of evil.
You got 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and 2 kids and a dog, and white picket fence. On the weekends or after work or whatever, you're breaking 9 kinds of laws.
In 2003, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, a violent white supremacist prison gang, split. A younger, even more vicious generation took the helm, with one goal: making money.
Money's green. Money ain't black. Money ain't white. It's green.
Dallas provides the perfect shroud for trafficking methamphetamine, the ABT's biggest moneymaker.
They're making their money hand over fist. I mean, it's just coming in like nothing. It's so easy for them.
We weren't just pushing pennies out there. We were moving weight.
The ABT operates hundreds of meth labs around Dallas, hiding them in middle-class communities.
I've seen them in barns, I've seen them in houses, I've seen them in ice chests. It's something that these guys can set up in just almost anywhere.
These neighborhoods serve another purpose, allowing gang members to conceal their identities as hardcore felons.
One of the ideals that you're supposed to have whenever you come out of prison as an ABT member is that you need to get a job, you get a place to live. If your family's not living with you, you need to get them back with you so that you can blend in better.
The blending in strategy allows the ABT to fly under the radar of not just their neighbors, but the authorities.
It's invisibility by being visible and not hiding. Because you have no reason to hide, because you look the part.
These suburban gangsters are still strongly connected to their brothers inside the Texas Department of Corrections. And drug profits help finance their brothers on the inside.
There's a set amount of money that every bro that's out here has to pay for stamps, to correspond back and forth with people that are in prison. If you have a job, then it's like 30 bucks a month. But if you're selling dope, it's like 150 bucks a month.
The ABT is governed by a military-type structure. The top tier is made up of a 5-man committee of generals known as the Wheel. Equal in rank, they order hits and enforce the bylaws of the Constitution, including the powerful ideology of white supremacy. Prospects must read Adolf Hitler's tyrannical Mein Kampf, which details his Aryan beliefs.
It's a good book for intelligent young white men to look at that can be easily led into this ideal that this is the way life is supposed to be.
They must also adhere to a philosophy known as 1488. 14 refers to the 14-word ideology of white nationalist David Lane, who founded a criminal enterprise dedicated to the total dominance of the Aryan race. His stated goal: we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. 88 refers to the number of bylaws in the gang's constitution, the same number of precepts in Hitler's book. 8 is also said to represent the 8th letter of the alphabet, or H, which when appearing twice, HH, signifies Heil Hitler. Though they embrace racism, ABT members say they are not bigots, claiming to tolerate other races.
I'm absolutely a racist. I love my race. Am I a bigotrous? No. No. A racist is a person that cares about their ethnic creed or background. And everybody, to a degree, should love where they're from or be proud of their descendants.
It's a claim that rings hollow. An ABT member gunned down a Dallas gas station attendant following the attacks of 9/11, simply because the victim looked Arab. There is one clear way to identify an ABT member: their ink. The most common tattoo features a shield adorned with a sword or swastika, and is called the patch.
That patch was supposed to have been in your face to the inmates, right? You see it, right? You back off from it. You know what it is, you get away.
Patches must be earned. One way to get patched in is to commit a murder. Members also mark themselves with swastikas and double lightning bolts, symbols of Hitler's Nazi Germany.
If I'm a black inmate walking down the hallway of a penitentiary and I see an inmate with a swastika on his arm, it kind of sends the message that I'm going to leave him alone.
Also common is the tattoo peckerwood.
You'd see a lot of them say 100% peckerwood. And that's what they would associate. They were a big, strong tree that could stand and sway with adversity.
There is only one exception to the ABT's rule of white power. That's the color green.
It's a hustle ride. It's not a, I hate you because you're black or I hate you because you're Mexican. It's money's green. It doesn't have a concept of ethnic background or religion or creed even.
They won't hesitate to do anything for money, even when it comes to drug trafficking across the Mexican border.
They can blend in pretty well. Clean up their talk, clean up their act, and they look like any other businessman. Border Patrol, police, whoever, they're not looking for clean-cut looking white men.
We would come back and act drunk coming across the border, and they don't want to mess with some young white kids that just went over there to have a party, and they're coming back. We would act wasted. In reality, we're carrying 5,000 or 6,000 Xanax on us.
The ABT is known to make bank using dope traps.
Any place where you got users coming to buy their drugs. So they're trapped there. They can't get away from it because they're so hung up on the dope.
They often set up shop in black neighborhoods, where they say the community leaves them alone.
You move into a crime-infested place and you start selling your drugs or selling your guns and doing your business there, it might piss people off, but the last thing that they want in their neighborhood is to be finding black-on-white violence, because it draws heat to their neighborhood.
Those who wish to deal in ABT territory are forced to pay taxes.
Say if a dope dealer wanted to deal in Mesquite, we would go jam them up, tell them, hey, y'all gotta pay so much, you know, for us to allow y'all to deal here.
ABT enforcers penalize those who don't play by their rules. Punishments are known to be severe and extreme, such as the one given to this man.
They got a pair of vice grips, pulled his tongue out until his tongue split. Then they burned his ear off, his testicles. They didn't kill him, but the reason they did that because they thought he tried to set them up on a robbery deal.
The ABT's internal discipline is even harsher. Members who betray the Brotherhood have their tattoos physically removed.
Whenever you're peeling somebody's patch off, you make sure that they're conscious for it. You hold them down, and if it's so painful that they pass out, you wait till they wake up and you finish it.
They reserve the most severe punishment for those who double-cross them. These men risk being X'd out of the gang.
It's a quick time, it's a fast life. We live by the sword, we're gonna die by it, or be wounded by it.
August 2006. 15 miles east of Dallas, the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas had vowed to silence the girlfriend of one of its highest-ranking members.
She just got into the wrong crowd. I mean, you know, she was a kid, 19 years old.
Breonna Taylor was dating Jason Hinkins, aka Trooper, an ABT general. Breonna was said to be bad-mouthing the Brotherhood and had accused Dale Jameton, known as Tiger, of sexual assault. One night when Trooper was out of town, gang members brought Breonna to the home of Jennifer McClellan. There, Breonna was beaten, tortured, sexually assaulted, and eventually murdered.
I will tell you, it's hard for me to imagine what could have possibly been said to put that little 19-year-old girl through that. But in their eyes, whatever it was worth her life.
Tiger put Breonna's remains in a plastic tub, filled it with concrete, and dumped it in Lake Ray Hubbard.
The way that they disposed of her, they knew what they were doing.
Days later, Tiger, Jennifer, and another member of the ABT went to see two men who Tiger says owed him money.
I'm knocking on the door and I'm like, hey, you know, you don't know me, but I know you don't want my money, and I want it now, you know. And hold on, I'm like, no, ain't no holding on, dude. The only thing we're gonna hold on to is this pistol, and I'll shoot your ass if you don't got my money.
Tiger and his accomplices kidnapped the men and headed to Jennifer's house, driving straight into the arms of the FBI.
Get on the street and it's illuminated. It's 3 in the morning. I'm like, oh, what's going on? You know, what's going on there? There's feds in my house, you know? I'm like,
ABT had tipped police to Breonna's murder. In a panic, Tiger released the men.
We pull out, and I tell these guys, I say, it's your lucky day. You don't have to pay. But they're crying and they think it's over, and I'm like, look, man, just walk until you hit a tree.
Tiger and Jennifer took off in his pickup truck. They pulled onto Interstate 45 with the cops in pursuit.
I'm telling her, man, look out the truck. Do you see any helicopters? I know there's got to be some helicopters. I know they're up there. They're probably just way up there where we can't hear them.
Tiger decided to go out in a big way. He told Jennifer to turn up the radio. Then he ate a handful of methamphetamine.
He was going to slam on his brakes. He was going to get out. He was going to start shooting. He was going to take as many police officers as he could and have the police take him.
Seconds later, a police chopper blinded Tiger with a spotlight. He veered toward a median, hit the brakes, and crashed into a concrete barrier.
I had a pistol in my hand, and then I already had a cocked back, and I felt like, you know what, I can take one with me, and then I'll make them kill me, and then it'll be over.
He told Jennifer they wouldn't take him alive.
And I told her to get out, and she's like, well, can I give you just one more hug, you know? I'm like, yeah, sure, you know? So she comes over there. Well, she didn't hug me. She grabbed my pistol and threw it out the window.
Police immediately surrounded Tiger's truck and took the two into custody. Both were charged with capital murder. Tiger pled guilty and was sentenced to life. In exchange, prosecutors dropped the capital murder charge against Jennifer. She is serving 20 years for aggravated assault and aggravated robbery.
I had to do whatever I had to do to get her out of it.
Tiger still insists he is not the one responsible for Breonna Taylor's death. He claims other ABT members killed her.
I didn't kill Breonna. I'm not saying that I was not involved, and I did help dispose of her remains.
Breonna's body has never been found. In Trooper's mind, Tiger is 100% responsible for the death of his girlfriend.
If I'd have known then what happened, you know, it looks like I told the detective, y'all wouldn't have been arrested because he wouldn't have been alive.
But Trooper is far from innocent. August 26th, 2006. Just one day after Tiger's arrest, Trooper was arrested in New Mexico. Authorities say he and Tiger had killed a man that Tiger said was infringing on their drug trade. They were both charged with capital murder. Tiger pled guilty and received a second life sentence.
Whether you want to call it reap what you sow or karma or whatever you call it, it's all the same. You know, eventually you'll fall and it'll come to an end. And I've always understood that.
Trooper denied the charges, claiming that once again, his own brothers were being disloyal.
Most of my co-defendants gave statements trying to put the blame on me since I was ranked.
The Joint Task Force, made up of Dallas PD and the FBI, seized the moment, bringing down the Dallas chapter of ABT in a month. By September 2006, 7 members and associates had traded the glitzy Dallas suburbs for a prison cell. 2 of those arrested were generals.
When they arrested all of us in Dallas, that took out the ranking structure, so you got a lot of soldiers that are just out there running around, trying to make steps for rank.
Their absence left a power vacuum on the streets and opened the door to even more chaos. After years of solidarity behind bars, the ABT was unraveling.
There ain't nobody really calling the shots for AB. They pretty much just do whatever they want, wherever they're at.
The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, a prison gang built on loyalty, is falling apart. A joint task force made up of the Dallas PD and the FBI have capitalized on the gang's inner turmoil, locking away high-ranking members and associates. The power vacuum has meant the new recruits are even more vicious than their brothers behind bars.
not a whole lot of remorse for the things that they've done. I think that's what scares you. The fact that they would do these things like you and I would do our everyday chores at work or do our everyday chores at home. To them, that's just what they did.
Members like B.A. say the younger generation is too high profile, too street, and lacking serious discipline.
You know, we really should be invisible, but I don't see that because every time you turn around, you got Trooper and all of that kind of stuff going on in the news. And more than half of them's telling on each other.
B.A. also complains that the new recruits are too strung out.
Everything coming in here now is kids talking about all I like to do at 19 years old, 20 years old is sit at home and eat cereal and smoke crack and watch cartoons on TV. I said, yeah, you sound like AB material to me.
Though he spent the last 25 years in the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, B.A. has decided it's time to give it up.
I tried to live up to that, you know, and it's just reached the point where I can't do it no more.
B.A. knows that as long as he claims the gang, he has no shot at parole.
I mean, if it would have stayed as it was and as it originally was, I would have had no problem just staying if I had to die in here, you know. But I don't see no sense in it anymore.
Surprisingly, Trooper, one of the highest-ranking members of the ABT, agrees.
Every time I've been arrested for the last 3 times, it's because of my so-called bros set me up. Same way with this time.
Trooper is currently awaiting trial for capital murder. He believes the Brotherhood betrayed him, and he has quit the gang.
The wheel would never let me step down because it's a majority vote. So finally, I just said, you know, screw it. I'm tired of the violence.
He is a marked man.
I would be considered an ex with extreme prejudice. I was jamming them up out in the world, and they didn't kill me out there, so it don't really bother me.
Tiger may also be marked for death. Gang members say he broke the rules by implicating others in the murder of Breonna Taylor to save himself. Tiger sees it differently.
They're mad because I didn't stop it. You know what I mean? But that's all they can be is mad. You can't X me for that.
Tiger is locked up in the Clemens prison unit, doing life with no chance of parole. He remains loyal to the ABT and believes the gang will once again come to respect him.
I'll ride into the fire for one of mine and even die in an honorable stance.
The ABT is now struggling to regroup. According to authorities, there's been talk that the California Aryan Brotherhood could be called in to unify their Texas brothers. The ABT wants none of it.
California AB better stay in California. Period. Ain't nobody runs us. We're ABT. We're in California.
That would be like the Gotti group going to Venice and saying, okay, we're coming in here to take over your business because you're not doing it right. And those guys would be wearing Sicilian neckties.
Gang members are confident the ABT will remain a force to be reckoned with, no matter what it takes.
Law enforcement thinks they can weed them out. It's like the Klan, though. There's always going to be those guys that are still holding it strong. They're here to stay, and they're not going anywhere.
You have a family that you care about, maybe, you know, someone that you love. Okay, well, I feel the same way about my family, my brothers. I'll do anything in the world to protect them.